Good afternoon. This is Ron Brown. It's Friday, June 21st, 2024. This video is going to expand upon the top 50 group inclusion report that I did last week. And I'm going to show you how you can use the current GIR or group inclusion report and then look back in time. And then I'm going to combine it with some of my user SmartGroups. Anyway, remember the market is your teacher. It always is. That's where all knowledge about the market comes from. It doesn't come from gurus and people that everyone has an opinion. You have to do it yourself. Standard risk disclaimer. Any stock index or ETF mentioned in this presentation is not a recommendation to buy or sell. All trading strategies are used at your own risk. Now, I am going to be following that PDF, or not following it directly, but referring to it, which is available to you at High Growth Stock. Go to www.hgsinvestor.com/context-charts.pdf. If you're not using the software, you should. It's one of the most powerful pieces of software out there, and you're going to see what I can do with it. Anyway, let's get started. I want to get into this, and I'll be building upon this for several videos going forward. I was on vacation last week, and this week I've just been dealing with other things like PET scans and so on, but now I'm ready to get back to work. So this is a PDF that's downloadable. It's it's based upon order flow and price mechanics. A lot of this came from a guy named Frank Bunn. That's Bunn, B-U-N-N. You can look him up on the internet. Or Udemy. There's a lot of his courses in Udemy, and some of them are very good. And the ones where he discusses order flow and price mechanics are especially good. So I use a lot of his techniques, a lot of things of my own too. But by the way, if you have a question for me, don't post it on the YouTube, because I rarely look at those questions on there. If you have a question about my videos, write me directly at ron@highgrowthstock.com, and I'll get that. That's ron@highgrowthstock.com. Now this information here, structure and direction, pivot trends, price action trends, order flow and market sentiment, all of these can be represented or determined in this chart right here. This is my basic go-to chart. And in my files, I have them now under context charts, just because I'm using these for these videos. There's a lot of other charts in here. I'm just not using those. I'm using only these when I talk about techniques in these videos. The chart that I'm currently on is this one right here. Context with the 3, 6, 18, 50, 100, and 200-day exponential moving averages. No VPA on this chart. I'm going to run through these very quickly. This is just a plain chart, a daily chart, no VPA. This is the same chart with VPA flags. This is a contextual chart with a 3, 6, and 18. I have added the MACD 3, 6 here, just as kind of a momentum indicator. Over the years, I've just been using this view right here because it's a 3. When the 3 crosses the 6, the green histogram is going to be positive above the black line. When the 3 crosses down, it'll be red. And I can see momentum here. You can see momentum in the MACD also. I've always preferred to look at the histogram. And these lines, when the 3, 6 starts coming together, or when it's expanding, you're going to see the histogram up here. When they start coming together, it's going to be falling, and then when the 3 crosses down through the 6, it'll turn negative. So either way, whatever you prefer. Now, this is the only chart where I've added the MACD. The next chart is the one I showed. These are on the quick pick over here. No VPA. Same chart here, but it's got the VPA indicators in it. Next is a daily chart with built-in support and resistance lines. This is a weekly chart comparing to relative strength compared to the S&P 500. And then this is just a plain weekly chart. And I'll be using all of these charts as I continue through these videos. Okay, but today I'm just going to start here with this one. And what we have on this chart, and I'm going to bring up an arrow here. I'll start right over here. You can see that I have the moving averages, the exponential moving averages listed, and this tells us immediately, and this is end of day data, if the price closes above the 3, 6, 18, 50, 100, or 200 and the relationship to it. You can see that on Apple right here that the 200 day, which is right here, the closing price is 15% above that. So it just gives you an idea of strength. On the blue is the 50, so on the 50 it's 9.6% above. Oh, I say I added two fields here. I need to get rid of one of these, and I'll do that before I ship the add-on out again. The percent volume to the 90-day moving average volume. This is the 90-period moving average volume. That blue line, and you can see that yesterday, or on yesterday, Thursday, it was well above the blue line, so it was 31.5% above the blue line. The range, right here, the closing range, 15.40%. You can see that it's barely up from the bottom. Remember, this is in for end of day information. If it's a box stock, it'll show here. Here's a relative strength rank, the Kirkpatrick relative strength rank, and the earnings due. Now, going down here, you can see I have the name and the symbol in here. This is the volume, 90-day moving average, 5 and 10-day pocket pivots. So the blue pocket pivots are positive, of course, and the red, or the rose, are negative. And I'll explain that as I go along. And you can see here the trends. This is the micro trend, the 3 and the 6. If the 3 is above the 6, this is going to be positive. What do we see here on Apple? We see the 3 is above the 6, but barely. This is right now. This is intraday, and it's losing momentum. Okay, this is a short-term trend. This is a micro trend, short-term trend. 6 and 18. 6 is right here. Here's the 18, well above it, but you can see that it's been losing some momentum also. Now on the 18 versus the 50, which would be the 50 is here, and here's the 18, it really has not lost much momentum. Slightly, but it seems to be holding up pretty well. Now if I enlarge this window, if I didn't have the screen draw tool on, we could see that there's a little bit of momentum coming down. But the next window, the volume point of control, has turned negative, and it turned negative on this black candle up here. Now there's a lot of information on this chart. I didn't point out that if the fan is in an uptrend, it'll say yes here. If it's in a downtrend, it'll say yes on the downtrend. If both of these, if neither one of these says yes, then it's not trending. But what is the fan? I'll make this blue. Here's the 100. I'm sorry, the 200, the 100, the 50, and the 18. If these are stacked on top of one another, that means the fan is up and it's a strong stock. Conversely, if they're stacked the other way and the EMA fan says down, then it's a weak stock. Now, one more thing on this important up here. This is an important window. The group, industry group is blue. You can see that the industry group, communications equipment, has been trending up, and this is the green is a relative strength rank to the industry, and Apple, as it's come down, was underperforming its industry group, and the information is all right here in this box. So like I said, there's a tremendous amount of information in this box, or I'm sorry, in this chart, and you're going to see a lot more when I get into this, talking about some of these things that are discussed here in the PDF file. Okay, I'm 11 minutes in and I haven't even gotten into the main part of this video, but let's go back where we were last week. I'm going to clear everything. Going to go into the custom groups, the top 50. This is the, better take the filter off. Oh, let's start over on that. Okay, I'm going to click on the group inclusion report. I'm going to clear that. I'm going to go to the top 50, the most recent. Just click on that, and if I just make an HTML page with today's group, it's just going to show it like this. It's going to give the symbol, the name, the industry, and the date. And there's only one group count here, of course. So I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to add all of June. And the reason I'm doing this is I just want to show you how you can expand upon the group inclusion report. So now when I run this group inclusion report, it's going to show me the stocks that appeared the most in June, and the most recent day will be right. If it's also yesterday's, it'll show up as the most recent. You can do a Control F after highlighting this, and it'll show you where these are on the list. So if I click on gold here, it's going to take me down to all of these that are showing up in today's. But when you add other days to this, it's going to put the stocks that appear most often at the top of the list. So let's just take a look here at ADMA. Get this out of the way. I'm going to go over here, ADMA, and bring it up, and you can see that on the, make this a red arrow, on the 3rd of June, the 4th of June, the 5th of June, 6th of June, 7th, 10th, all these days, this has appeared. So let's go back to the 3rd of June, and this would be June 1st, this would be the 3rd of June. I'll turn this off and make sure. No, I'm sorry, that's wrong. This is the 3rd of June right here. So it appeared here. That's the 3rd of June. And then all of these other instances, it appeared here also. Now, as it was coming out of this, you can see probably big news here, more than likely earnings. But what happened? Let's take a look at it back here. You can see that it shot up. The 3 was expanding from the 6, and that is readily apparent here in this histogram, and then it started losing momentum as these moving averages came together. You can see the red and the green, they were coming together. And it didn't go negative. You can see there's a tick right there, and then it started expanding again. These other, the 6 and the 18, started losing momentum too, but the 1850 didn't move much because it takes a lot more to bring those together. You can see the VPOC only turned negative right here at this point where this tick almost went, where the 3 almost went below the 6. But looking at this, I'm going to take that, I'm going to move in a little bit on this so we can see this better. Right here, where it came down and nearly went negative, this was a setup. This here is your low pivot because it's lower than this pivot here, and for this to be a confirmed pivot, this high, the highest high before this pivot right here needs to be taken out. So that would have been taken out right there. Now this would be called a cheater here, where you could cheat and not wait for this prior day's high to be taken out, but it could have been purchased here too. But a true viable low risk entry would be confirmed right here, and you can see that it's moved up since then. What also has happened is there has been several pocket pivots on that day, and the VPOC was also positive. The group itself, well, it was starting to go up there, and it's kind of been up and down here, but this has been outperforming the group. Now this is yesterday, which was Thursday, and you can see NVIDIA appeared all of these days, but it hasn't appeared for a couple of days because it's been pulling back. The last appearance was on the 18th. I'll just put NVIDIA in here. And that was the 18th right there. If I use my alternate I key and bring up my arrow, that was the last time it appeared. It didn't appear yesterday, and this is what it looks like today. Okay, now let's take a look at NVIDIA here. You can see that it's been really strong on the 6 and 18 and the 1850, and the VPOC was positive until right here, and only over the past couple of days has there really been any threat to it. I'm going to bring that arrow back up and look at a few things here. Now, after the split, of course, there are many recommendations that came into it, but this is kind of squashed down here. It's hard to see, but this would be a low pivot after this, and when this was taken out, well, probably at the gap here, that was a buy signal. But a cheater buy would have been when this pivot here, the low pivot here, was taken out on this one. So would have been a day earlier. Anyway, that's neither here nor there, but I'm just showing you that the fan was very strong. You can tell that by looking down here, and then just looking at the fan stock and a very strong uptick. I'm not telling you anything. You know this. But this is what you need to look for as far as context. So it gapped up. Here there was one lower low and two lower lows. If you don't get the third lower low, that is not a trend change because the trend is still up. It's just profit taking. Took off again. This is down a little bit, but it didn't take out the prior day's low. And it's been going up until here. This was a gap up yesterday. All kinds of buy recommendations coming in for NVIDIA. So the latecomers jump on, and then they're in a losing trade. NVIDIA will probably continue to go up, though. So here's your first lower low, second lower low, and if this turns around and if there's a third lower low, then that would be a trend change on NVIDIA. But it certainly isn't happening yet. Okay, let's go down. Let's do one more here. Well, I'm going to go, let's look at HIMS. I haven't looked at it. HIMS. And here it is with a big move up and then a pullback. This is not a lower low because it's not lower than that. This would be the first lower low. This would be the second lower low, and then you can see that it took off. The 3 did not get down below the 6 because this histogram remained positive until right here. Now here, there's the first lower low, the second lower low. If there's a third lower low on this, then that would be a price trend change. Also, you could look at it this way. This is a high pivot. Here's a pivot below that, and then this would be a confirmation of this price rejection up here when it crossed down actually below that. And that happened yesterday. So you can look at this a couple of ways. But when you're looking at pivots like this, you're usually looking in a downtrend, not an uptrend. So I would be looking for a price trend change based upon 3 lower lows rather than the pivot up here, because you can see a lot of pivots here that did not, even though this came down, well, it didn't take this out, but this is a way to look at it. But with this strong trend here, and look down at the histograms, yes, it's lost a little momentum here, and it did go negative, but the trend is still strong based upon the fan. If this market holds together, and it's kind of weak today, a couple of days in a row, if it holds together, I would not be surprised to see this just be a couple of day correction and then it'll go again. What do we have up here though? The industry group is weak. You have to take that into consideration. And this is not as weak. It's going down though, but relative to the group it's stronger because the slope isn't like this. Okay, let's take this a little further now. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to clear that. I'm going to go back into the group inclusion report. And I'm going to add April and May. I'm going to check the children. I'm going to run this. And now what you see here is this is a stock that came up yesterday, FTAI, and look at all the times it appeared before going back to 4-1. And look at this fan. Look how strong this stock is. I watched this thing go for a long time, and I never did get on it. But let's take a look at it now, and let's see where it currently is. I'm gonna okay, I've moved in a little bit. Let's take a look at this. I'll bring up my arrow again. We'll start at the top this time. The industry group is blue, so the group's going up. This is slightly underperforming the group. It was outperforming the group on this move up right here. So we'll start at that. Now I'm looking to see if there or where the buying opportunities were. Now let's see, what is this date right here? That is the 14th. So you can see there's well, I'm looking at the wrong place. 614. There's 613 and then 617. So 613 was there. It was still in the top 50, and then on this day it pulled back. But let's take a look at this. You can see it gapped down, but it closed near the high of the day. It found support at the 18-day exponential moving average. Here's your low pivot. So a confirmed buy at this late late stage would be if it goes above this candle here, because this is the prior candle to this low pivot, and there's a buy right there, and so far it's good. That's confirmed by the pocket pivots, and the 3 was going up through the 6. You can see the momentum going up. The same thing on the 618, and now you can see the momentum's come down a little bit. The VPOC is still positive. Anyway, that was the latest buy point, and there have been many others along the line. Let's go clear back here and look at this one where it was just kind of going sideways. And I don't see any 2 lower lows all through here. So if a person had been in earlier, I just don't see it. Here's a lower low. Here's the first lower low, second lower low. Just didn't happen. So using the criteria of 3 lower lows, this stock, a trader would still be in it just looking at it that way. Plus the support of the fan, the support of the 18. Here it barely dipped below the 18 but closed right at it. Here it went down below it but still stayed well above the 50. If I draw this line down here, yeah, volume was kind of heavy that day, but anyway, just 1 lower low, 2 lower lows, and then it kept going. Looking over here, you can see that on the top 50, a lot of these stocks just appear over and over again. Here's that ADMA, NVIDIA, CrowdStrike, PanW. This is going back into April. And I don't want to go any further back because this video will be too long, but you can see that. Now let's add some other things into it. Okay, I'm going to go up here. I didn't want that. Sorry, I want this. I'm going to go down into my user SmartGroups that I maintain here, and I'm going to go into Ron's top user groups. And let's just go into the CanSlim. Now I have several CanSlims here. You can just use these, crossover, fan up, and so on. You need to come in here and look, but I'm just going to select CanSlim All. Check the children. I'm going to run it with that. Okay, so this one, FTAI, is not a CanSlim stock, where revenue growth and earnings and revenue growth are both 20% or above. Vital Farms is on 620, it appeared there. But you can see that some of these are, I think I clicked the wrong thing. Let me go back here. Let's try this again. I think what I did, well, I know what I did. I need to go up into my user SmartGroups. And the non-index file, CanSlim type stocks. And I'm going to select April, May, and June and check children. Now let's try this again. Okay, so on these dates, like 4/1, on, this is TCOM. This appeared the most, 151 times. On 4/1 it was appearing, and on 4/1 it was a CanSlim type, and it was a CanSlim type crossing over. The fan was up, continuation. It's getting all kinds of signals in the CanSlim user SmartGroup. So let's take a look at TCOM. I don't know what it looks like now, but we're going to find out. And you can see that it's made its run. It's going downhill. Let's see when the last 6. Okay, it's still in CanSlim because it's still a CanSlim type stock based upon the earnings, but it is the last date that it appeared in the top 50. This isn't labeled up here, but this is the top 50 group and inclusion report, was on 6/7. So 5/20. You can see after 5/20, which is right here, there are only 2 more appearances on 6/5. Okay, 6/5 is right there. Let me bring this up. That's 6/5. And then, okay, 6/5, and then it also appeared on 6/7. So it meant the characteristics of the top 50. It had broken down, but you can see that it was basing across here. It just didn't follow through to the upside. I don't see a confirmed pivot or a price trend change where there are 3 higher highs. So it is still a canceling stock, but it didn't. I don't see any buy signals in here. This would be a low pivot, but it didn't. This one didn't take out the high of this, and neither did this one. And the 3 was below the 6, and it remained below the 6. But anyway, you can see how I can combine my user smart groups with the top 50 group inclusion report. Okay, let's go back and look at it. It was appearing 4-1, 4-2, 4-3, and 4-8. 4-1 is right there. 4-2, 4-3, 4-8, and 9. And then it started backing off again. And then 4-11. Right there. Anyway, it worked its way through here. Here's a low pivot which was confirmed, and then it failed, but there were only 2 lower lows here, so it didn't qualify for a lower low, and then it took off again, and then it rolled over. Anyway, this video is getting pretty long. I hope you can get a feel for what you can do with the group inclusion report, and then adding my user smart groups. Well, that's why I keep the history of these user smart groups, so I can go back and look and find out what works and what doesn't work. Now, I'm going to be continuing this video series, doing a lot of this. I hope you like this, where I go in and take a look at these stocks and use the contextual things. And I'm going to be covering all of these as we go along. I'm going to talk about contraction properties, price action reversals, price level system, and so on. This will all be coming in other videos. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, if you want to be notified, you should. Thank you for listening. Have a good weekend.